I have to mention, which I forgot. This man did win a national championship.
State championship.
State
championship.
my bad.
State
Championship in high
yeah,
school. This is state championship.
yeah.
So congratulations
Yeah.
again.
Appreciate it.
Give you your
For sure.
flowers.
Yeah.
When it comes to like evaluating players in practice, let me explain to the parents like how do you evaluate players, because some parents think that it's all about going in, being aggressive and scoring a basketball, but just want you to break down when you are in a practice making up your team, how do you evaluate, okay, this kid got it, should make the team?
It depends on the level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I think about we were putting together our fourth grade team,
Mm-hmm.
you know, fourth grade is willing body, willing to get better,
Yeah.
supportive parents,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a certain level of athleticism,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some type of foundation already,
Mm-hmm.
because it's about development.
Right.
You know, as you get older, I also coach a 16U girls team
Okay.
in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
That team is a little different. The team's elite.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm evaluating players for that team, it's you have to have a certain level of skill, ability, want to, desire from the jump, you know, to even get considered for that team.
Right.
But when you're trying to build a team and not just throw together the best and brightest talent,
Mm-hmm.
you really are looking at their foundation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, seeing if you can get a glimpse in just a short conversation when you're talking about a tryout,
Yeah.
a short conversation, like what's your why? Like, do you want to play in college? Do you want to just be a good high school player? Are you doing this just because your friend is doing it? Are you doing it just to keep in shape for your other sport that might be your main sport?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know, why are you doing this? And that kind of thing from an AAU perspective will determine what team we put you on.
Okay.
I might not put you on the national traveling team if you're doing this just to keep in shape for softball,
Right.
or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But if you're saying, I want to be in the WNBA, I want to be in the NBA, I want to go to college, I want a scholarship, you know, then now that puts you in the running for maybe the national traveling team.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So all of those things come into play when trying to pick the teams or pick players for the team, because the skill, the ability, the shooting ability, that's, you know, you either can shoot or you can't.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
or,
Right.
you know, you can either handle the ball or you can't.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, as they get older, we might make some phone calls to some coaches, to some references, because in the tryouts you can only see so much.
So much, right.
And most of what you're going to see is probably going to be just in an up and down 5-on-5 situation or a 3-on-3 situation, so you can just see them in action.
Right.
You know, what is your vision like? What do you see naturally?
That's a good,
you know, things of that sort. So
that's so
in a tryout scenario, you got a short time span to be able to say, I think they got it. They might not have it. If I'm on the fence, we may ask for some film from their school year, or things of that sort. But from an AAU perspective, that's what it looks like. High school, a little different. Because you have kids who maybe made the team as freshmen. As you start to get older,
maybe they didn't get as good, or another kid got better.
Because now you're competing against an AAU. You're typically competing against kids in your age group,
right?
For the most part,
right.
You know, high school, you're competing against 9th grade through 12th grade. So everybody is kind of lumped together, and the only team that's kind of locked is your freshman team.
Right.
Only freshmen play on the freshman team. Now your freshmen can play up.
Right.
But at the same time, you're competing against multiple age groups.
Right.
So I might have made it my freshman year, but my sophomore year, now I'm competing against incoming freshmen, sophomores in my class, and then juniors who may play JV.
Right.
So it gets more and more difficult. But then you got kids that are just really good kids, kids that are really good teammates.
Right.
And you have to be able to, from a coaching perspective, you got to be able to adapt to what you have.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to another school district to grab a kid to come play on my team.
Right.
So I mean, I have to work with what I got.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where high school basketball,
a little different
AAU is a little different. Because the AAU kids are coming from everywhere.
From all over.
From all over the place.
It's funny because I've had kids who I know can score going through my tryout, and we already knew they would be on the team. And they would do the least amount of scoring in a tryout. But when they did score, you knew, okay, he or she got it. And I've had kids where they showed that vision. So I knew, okay, yeah, that's a good point guard. Or this post player made a couple good movements on defense and passed out the post. There's a lot of little things that I think the good coaches look for.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes parents, they will, and I've heard it, parents will tell their kids, again, you got to shoot, you got to be aggressive. You have to be a smart basketball player going into a try. You want to be aggressive, but you don't want to go out there. I've seen kids, and I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, they're gunning in a tryout because they want to show like, I got it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And from a tryout perspective, you want to be able to go into a tryout. If I'm giving advice to a kid or a parent, things to think about, when you go into a tryout, you want to do a couple of things. You want to defend. You got to sit down and defend.
Yeah.
If you don't do nothing else, defend. You got to communicate. You got to talk.
Yep.
Okay, coaches love to hear players talking on the court.
Yes.
It shows your IQ too, yep.
Helping your teammates, communicating, encouraging your teammates, encouraging people. And then you also share the ball and make open shots.
Yep.
You don't have to make difficult shots. Like you said, you don't have to show your latest and greatest reverse layup, Euro step. I don't have to do all of that. I don't have to show my footwork, all that. I don't have to do all that.
Right.
If I can make open shots, I defend, I communicate.
That's good.
You go into a tryout with those things in mind,
you're good.
That puts your head.
You're in great shape.
So y'all heard that.
Yeah.
Y'all heard that.
Need to
all right.
take notes.